In this video, I'm going to discuss some questions and comments that you had on the video I posted where I give you the prices of my cakes. Hi, it's Karolyn. If you want to learn how to bake and decorate amazing cakes, then I would love for you to join me by hitting subscribe and the bell. So last week, I posted a video giving you some prices of some of the cakes that I make, and I got a lot of questions and comments. It raised a lot of interest, and rather than just answer everyone individually, I thought I would make a video to help you guys, or to answer the questions that you had. So I have a list over here of 10 different things, 10 different points that I want to make, and we will start with number 1. First question is, did the prices that I gave include delivery? And it did not. So delivery for me is a completely separate charge. I typically charge $25 flat rate plus $2.25 per mile one way, plus any tolls that I may incur. So say it's about 10 miles away, I will charge 10 times $2.25, which is $22.50, plus the $25 flat rate fee, which is $47.50, plus any tolls. So the price for my delivery is a little high. However, it makes it worth my time to deliver a cake because there's always traffic in this area. And sometimes even a delivery that isn't that far away can end up taking a really long time. Question number 2. And they're building a deck next door, so I hope you can't hear that, but it's very distracting for me, so I'm trying to ignore it. I was asked, how did I build my customer base and how do I get customers? But when I first started, I used to work for Remax, and what I would do, I would go home and I would practice cakes, and then I would bring them into the office, and people thought it was great. They're like, oh my God, this cake is amazing. My son's birthday is coming up. Can you make one for my son? And then they would take my cake to that party, and then the people at that party would ask, where did you get this cake? And it just happened like that. Like customers would come from the parties, from my friends, from family. So I started this about 20 years ago, and this was before Ace of Cakes came on TV and before Cake Boss and before cakes became a thing. So by the time those shows came on TV, I had a bit of a reputation, I guess, and a small customer base where I had the skill level that I was able to do cakes, not like I do now, but I was still not amateur at it. So part of it with me, I think, is luck that I started at the right time. Like if you started a YouTube channel back in 2011, it was easier to grow than it is today. But it doesn't mean that you can't. It just takes a little bit more work. So now there's social media, there's different ways to get your product out there. But I would say if I had to start all over again, I would start with friends and family and try to get the word of mouth out that way. Number 3 is about your skill level. And I will say this, I think when you're doing cakes, especially since there's a lot of people doing it now, you need to get good at something, right? So when I first started, I got really good at icing buttercream cakes really smooth. People thought it was fondant all the time. They couldn't believe how smooth I get the cakes. I get that sharp edge. I have videos showing you how I ice smooth buttercream cakes, and I will link that below. But buttercream cakes, smooth buttercream cakes were my thing. And when you start with a smooth, even surface, a clean surface, then your cakes just look so much better. So I would say find your thing. Find something that you are really good at. Like right now, I love doing 2-dimensional fondant figures. Some people don't like doing 2D figures. Some people love doing 3D figures. Maybe you want to become really great at making sugar flowers, which drive me insane. So everyone has their own thing. And I would say to find something that you love to do and make that your thing, because then people will come to you because of that. Number 4, somebody asked me if the cakes that I posted in the pricing video were all doctored cake mix cakes. And yes, they are. All of my decorated cakes are made from a doctored mix recipe. I have a signature pound cakes that I make, and those are made from scratch. So I do both doctored mix and scratch baking. But here's what I'll say about this. I'm not ashamed about it. I personally don't think there's anything wrong with it. My customers love it. I love it. People love the taste. People rave about it all the time. And I know there's a stigma attached to it, but I don't think there needs to be. And I'm not ashamed about it. So where's my Game of Thrones fans? Because I'm going to make a quote from Tyrion So if you haven't seen the show, Tyrion is a dwarf, and he says something to Jon Snow, who is a bastard, and he tells Jon Snow, never forget what you are, the rest of the world will not. You wear it like armor, it can never be used to hurt you. And I'm paraphrasing, I don't know if I have that right, but he's basically saying, be loud and proud about what you do, who you are, don't be ashamed of it. Because once you're not ashamed of it, and once you put it out there, if someone comes at you about that, it's not going to do anything to you, right? So if someone says to me, oh yeah, well you make doctored cake mix, like, yeah, I do. I love them. My customers love them. Like I have no problem with it. And I believe that they are so good that if someone tells me that they're not, I'm just like, okay. It's kind of like if someone said to me, I hate your yellow shirt. And I'm like, all right, my shirt's not yellow. Like my shirt's blue. So I don't know what the heck you're talking about, right? Like my belief in my product trumps what anybody else would say about it. Number 5, I was asked if I have starting prices for different tiered cakes. In that video that I made, I showed you pricing from 1 to 4 tiers, and I don't have starting prices for each of my cakes. I do have a minimum order of 200, and that's for a 1-tier cake. The smallest cake that I make is a 6-inch round. I'm not gonna make a 4-inch cake. It's just, my smallest cake is a 6-inch round. I'll just leave it at that, and that starts at 200. Now, I tried doing starting prices before and it drove me insane. I had it up on my website for like 2 weeks and I turned it down. So if somebody sees 2-tier cakes starting at $250, they see that number and they're like, I want a 2-tier cake for $250, not realizing that that is for a basic, simple design and not something bigger in size and or detail, which is what they are requesting. So it just became such a headache that I don't like doing starting prices. So that's why in the video that I'm referencing right now, in my pricing video, I tell you to offer options. So I usually offer a simple cake, a medium detail cake, an extreme detail cake for the size that they're looking for, and let people choose which one that they want. Number 6, I'm getting a lot of people who are sending me pictures of cakes that they made or cakes that they were asked to make and asking me how much should I charge for this. And I need to apologize right now. I can't tell you how much to charge. And I made a video and I'll put it here and in the description. I can't tell you how much to charge. Their pricing is based on a lot of different factors, which I go over in a couple different pricing videos, which will be linked in the description, including location, your skill level, and many other things. So what I'm going to charge for a cake is not necessarily what you're going to charge for a cake. You may live in a place like New York City, you may be able to charge a lot more than I could, or you could be in a really rural area and not be able to charge as much as I do. And there's so many different factors that go into it. So what I recommend, like I did before I started, I called around to different bakeries in the area because I had no clue what people were charging. So I just asked, I did a 2-tiered princess cake with a tiara topper to feed 30 people. And I just wanted to see what everyone was charging. And at that time, my skill level was not up to par with the bakeries. I was not as good as them. So I knew I couldn't charge as much as them. And that's how I was able to start to figure out how much I was able to charge for my cakes. Number 7, and this kind of goes with the last one. What do you do when people say to you, you shouldn't be charging as much as a bakery. You're not a bakery. You're just starting out. I can get a cheaper cake at the grocery store. Like, first of all, that's so rude. I don't really have an exact reply for that because I don't get that a lot. However, I did when I first started, and I fell prey to it as well because you feel bad. People try to make you feel like you're not worthy of asking the price that you want, and then you end up making cakes that take so much work, so many hours to do, and you don't feel appreciated. And I'll go back and say this, like I say in a lot of my videos. If you went to their job, these people who are asking you to do these cakes at a deep discount, if you go to their job and say, I want you to work all day and we're only paying you $50, they wouldn't do it. So I know it's difficult, especially when you're first starting out, to charge what you feel is fair. But if somebody wants to tell you that you can't charge as much because you're not a bakery, that is ridiculous. My one friend, Jen, she's a wedding photographer, and she is so good. And she doesn't have a studio. She works from home. She charges top tier. What people are paying for is for her skill, not for her studio. I'll relate it to my hair. So I just got my hair done the other day, and I went to Frankie. And Frankie, I've been going to him for about 20 years. I don't always go to him. I have other friends who do my hair from every now and then. Frankie charges top tier. He's a color specialist. He is so good at what he does. Every time he cuts my hair, he slays it. And my hair is really thin and fine, and he just knows how to do it. Now, I've gone to other places where I've paid half the price. My hair has turned orange. My hair looked a little weird in the back. The one girl only did my roots and didn't really listen to what I needed. And you get what you pay for, basically. So that's why I'm saying try to hone in on a skill level, get super good at something, and that will attract the right customers to you. But I do have to say, not every occasion warrants having a big, grand, beautiful custom cake. So I had somebody say to me before that I can't compete with grocery store prices. And no, I can't compete with grocery store prices, but that's not my customer. That's not who I am trying to attract. There are people who just need happy 5th birthday on a round Carvel cake, and that is fine. I do love Carvel cakes, by the way. That's usually what I get for my birthday. But our people are the people who want to have a beautiful centerpiece for their party. Number 8, I totally forgot to mention in my pricing video about cupcakes, and somebody asked about square cakes as well. I make cupcakes, but I don't do a lot of them. I will do a couple dozen here and there. Usually plain cupcakes or very simple detail. I am not one that likes to make 500 of the same fondant decoration to stick on top of 500 cupcakes. Like, that would drive me insane. So the starting price for my dozen cupcakes is $35, and it would go up from there depending on the simple detail. Now, for square cakes. I do not like making square cakes. I can do it, yes. However, it takes so much longer to do than round cakes. I rarely do it. I try to persuade people to get round cakes when they ask for square ones. I usually quote it about double the price, if not more. Icing square cakes is just extremely time consuming. It's challenging for me. You have to get the top flat. You have to get the edges, the corners 90 degrees, and everything sharp and even. And it takes twice as long, if not longer, to ice a square cake in buttercream for me. So I just don't like to do it. Now, could I ice a square cake with rounded edges and not care about it? Yes, but that ain't my thing. Like, I like to have my cakes look sharp and clean. So I just don't like to do it. And if you're going to make square cakes or rectangles or hexagons, which have 6 corners, that would drive me insane. I would definitely charge a little bit more because it does take a little bit more time. Number 9, I was asked if I charge per slice and per decoration, like basically how I'm pricing my cakes. I don't have like a chart or anything that I follow. It's just kind of in my head. So I tell people that basically my cakes are between $5 and $20 per serving. And as the cakes get bigger, they become lower per serving. Right, so my smaller 2-tiered cakes, a really detailed cake, could be $20 per serving, while a 4-tier cake would be a little bit less. It's kind of like when you go to Costco and you buy in bulk, how it becomes a little bit cheaper. That's how I think when I'm pricing my cakes. So when I'm pricing my cakes, I usually just have, and I don't tell people this, but I usually have in my mind like a 1-tier cake will be between $200 and $400. 2 tiers will be between $250 and $500. 3 tiers between $400 and $700, or $400 and $800, and then 4 tiers between $500 and $1,000. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I'm throwing out the numbers. I think it's in that range. And it all depends on if they want what size cake that they want and the detail and the decoration. So when I'm quoting prices, and somebody wants a 1-tier cake to feed 20 people, I know it's going to be between that 200 and 400 range, so I have to figure out how much detail is in it. And I know this doesn't really help, but I kind of know when somebody wants, you know, custom toppers, that's going to take between 30 minutes to 90 minutes to make. If somebody wants 2D figures, those are at least an hour each. If somebody wants petal ruffles, they take forever to make. So I factor that into the price when I'm making it, but I don't break it down per decoration to figure out how much to charge, just because I don't have the time to do that. But I don't tell people your cake is $10 per serving, because people will say if they want a cake that's $10 per serving to feed 30, that would be $300. And they'd be like, oh, I only need it to feed 20. And they would expect the price to drop by $100, which is not the case. Because if you are making two-tiered to feed 20 or 30, but with the same exact detail on it, still going to basically take the same amount of time to make. So it's not a $100 deduction when they want to reduce it by 10 servings. So I try to steer clear of giving a per serving price. I hope I answered that question. And number 10, I was asked, what do you do when people want to undercut your price? And this is what I will say about that. I don't focus on that. I'm sure there are people who do undercut me, but if I am paying attention to what they are doing, then my focus is not where it needs to be, and making my cakes and trying to grow my business and do what I do. So I feel like just in life, and I will say this in my yoga class, when we are doing balance poses, you find your drishti. This is something to focus on that basically doesn't move when you're trying to balance. I don't know if you can see I'm doing tree pose. And if you focus on something that's not moving, you're less likely to move. What you focus on becomes your reality, right? So the same thing with cakes. If you're focusing on everyone else is undercutting me, grocery store cakes are so cheap, why would they come to me? It's like all in your mindset. If you're thinking about that, that's what you're going to attract to yourself. I'm not a law of attraction coach, and I don't know how to really communicate how I feel about it. However, I will say I have used law of attraction when building my business and expanding and growing. And just remember that your thoughts become your reality. So I view myself as a professional. I think I am highly skilled at what I do. I spend the time and the money to increase my skill level and get better. And I want to be fairly compensated. So when you find yourself getting a little overwhelmed with pricing and thinking that everyone is so cheap and nobody wants to pay, and you know, you have to try, and I know it's difficult, but you have to try to refocus and start to think, people do value me. People love my cakes. My cakes taste amazing. And it's crazy how a shift can happen just by changing your mindset. And one more bonus thing, I don't know if I really call it a bonus, but I have a lot of people asking me if I offer online classes, and I am in the works. I'm trying to get something together, and I will be talking about it as I'm working on it, but I would love to know, and you can comment below, if you took an online class, what would you like to learn? What are you looking to learn? What are you looking to learn about cakes or anything? Because I really want to put something together that everybody can really like, that is unique, that's not out there, that can really help you guys. So I think that's it. I hope this helped you guys out. If you have any other questions or comments, leave them below. And you can get in touch with me on social media and check out my website. It's listed in the description below as well. And if you want to stick around, you can watch these two videos next and hit subscribe and the bell if you haven't already. Please like this video if you liked it. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, it's cake. Have fun. I will see you on the next one. Bye.